two, one, go. Hey, Monica. Awesome. Okay, so I'm excited to talk to you. I know you've just recently joined the certification, which I'm super stoked for. And yeah, I was trying to upload this live to Facebook, but for some reason it didn't work. So we're going to do it right now. And I'm really excited. So tell me a little bit, first off, before meeting me, just tell me a little bit about kind of what you did and what your passion is.
So basically, I'll go into a little bit of my history. And
Yeah.
so I came from a childhood of abuse in every sense of the word. I made plenty of bad choices. I experienced loss, heartache, pain, anxiety, overwhelmment. And anyway, so 22 years ago, probably closer to 23 now, I experienced the loss of my first husband. He was the love of my life. And he was in a car accident. Of course, that brings tears because he's so near and dear to me always. And he always will be. And so a little over 15 years ago, I met my next true love. And I moved across the country. I married him and moved across the country to Michigan. So I lived in Idaho, just over the border. So, we'll call it Utah. In the move, not only did I leave many of my possessions behind, but I left everyone that I held near and dear to me behind. And so it was a huge move. I had, at the time, I believe my two oldest children were probably 16 and 14 at the time. And so it was a big challenge for them. And we came into a blended family. So it wasn't just mine and yours, it was yours, mine, ours, and theirs. Because, we had children that we brought into our lives that were from other individuals that we claimed as our own. And so I know that you can imagine the joys and the stresses, the ups and the downs, the challenges of bringing so many individuals together from different backgrounds and circumstances. And it really took a toll on me. And just ever since I moved to Michigan, I didn't feel good. It was like, I must be allergic to Michigan, So, and I always joked around about that because I just felt my health declining. And then it got so bad that I literally thought I was going to die. I could feel the blood pulsing through my veins. I could feel something in my bones, so to speak, and something wasn't right. It was at a time where in society where you either chose to make your house payment or get insurance. And we chose paying our house payment because we had all these children that we had to make sure that they had a safe and happy home. And so we didn't get insurance. And I'd always been into natural stuff. I had my doctor mom years ago. I was in 94, I was in some car accidents and they had me on so many pills that it almost killed me then. And my doctor mom introduced me to essential oils at the time and just more natural stuff. And she was always that way, which I'm very grateful for because I had an awareness. And so when all of this happened, I just knew that there was something more. And throughout the process of struggle, like I remember a time where I was working at the school. And I remember a time where I literally was crouched down and I was panting because the pain was so bad.
Wow.
And I thought I was going to die. I just knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something going on inside of me that just wasn't right. And so I prayed and I asked and I pleaded and I talked to my bishop. I talked to my home teacher. And I ended up having a blessing. And in that blessing, I remember the feeling and even the words of being led to that which would bring healing.
Wow, that's awesome.
And peace to my life. And literally right thereafter, I was led to the emotion code and I just intuitively started doing it. And I noticed a difference there. I ended up having a body code session with an individual and found some things that were out of balance. And instantly I knew I was going to be okay. And through that experience, I was literally impressed by the words of, this is what you need to do. This is what you're going to do to help others. And so I became certified in the emotion code and the body code. And then I knew there was something more, because I've always known that there's something more that makes people tick, or the reason why they behave a certain way. I've always known that since I was a little girl. And so I went out to Salt Lake City to the Energy Healing Conference, and I was led to the Healer's Blueprint at that time. I actually won the package.
Wow, that's awesome.
And the interesting thing is I prayed and I prayed to be led to what it is that I needed that's going to help me and my clients at the time to bring more balance and harmony into our lives. And I actually won the Healer's Blueprint.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then, and that's through Tam Pendleton. And then, of course, the emotion code is Dr. Bradley Nelson.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're aware of them. And then, going through that, and then it's like, I still know there's more. There's got to be more. And of course, COVID happened. And then, and I prayed again, and I asked to please be led to what was going to bring more balance and harmony to my life and to my clients. How can I help people even more and even quicker? Because, it's a process and some other modalities. And then I was led to you. And I signed up to do the Energy Healing Conference online. Of course, you have the intention of watching everyone. And it's like, today, I just felt you've got to watch today. And it was you. And you introduced the, I think it was the power alignment, or just a really quick process. And so I watched you. I was so inspired by it. And then, of course, I had to get back to work and move on with life. And I think it was like 2 days later, I had a session coming up with a client, and I had such a horrible headache that my sinuses were throbbing. Like you could just feel yourself throbbing, and it was excruciating. And so I remembered your technique. I looked back at it. I think you sent out a free little.
Yep. Yeah, you got signed up for the free stuff there. Yeah.
I signed up for the free stuff. And so I did that on me. I looked up the pollens in the area at the time, and I literally tapped on my sinuses as I did that technique. And I think now that we know that's the intuitive alignment. And so I did that with the power alignment, and I'm not kidding you, within 30 seconds, it was gone.
Wow.
Like I could breathe. I was like clear-headed. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a miracle, And so I was sold. And that's when I signed it up. I signed up for the Abundance Masters, I believe is what it's called.
Abundance alignment technique through Abundance Masters. Yeah.
Yep. I did that. And then I've just, bit by bit, I've done more and more.
Yeah. So a couple things. One, I love how you allow your intuitiveness to guide your path, which is super cool. And I think that's something important, even just for every one of us to learn and to remember, is that we're giving stepping stones. And I look back on my life, and very similar. I had techniques come into my life that were perfect for that moment. And then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I just love how open you are and how willing you are to make those changes, and especially go first so that you can then serve your clientele. So tell me a little bit about, so you learned the technique, you learned the abundance alignment technique, you started doing it on yourself, you started doing it on your clients. I know you've told me some really cool results. So I want to just hear a couple of the things that you've seen shift using the abundance alignment technique. And tell us, I'm excited.
So the first thing, my father was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 melanoma. It went to his brain and his lungs, and he had to have brain surgery, which was very trying. And I always trust in divine timing. I mean, you got to know that it just so happened that I had been flying out west for my granddaughter's first birthday, right? Actually, it was after she was just being born. Sorry. Trying to get my timeline straight.
Good.
And I just happened to be flying in the day that he was having surgery. So I was there for the surgery. I was there to help and assist. I was there to help bring balance and peace to my mom and my brothers. and to help him through that. Now, I'll just tell you that this man, he's my stepfather, and he's always been very standoffish. Like, I'm the man, I'm not supposed to show emotions, I'm not supposed to tell people I love them. They just need to know, kind of thing. And he has expressed his love for me so much in the past few months that I'm just like taken aback. It's just incredible. And last month he went in for his blood panels, and he's fine. There's nothing.
And did you did you align him to what was the stuff that you worked on that?
I worked on his nervous system, his different aspects of his cellular system, his T cells, his mitochondria, his cell responders. I excuse me, went specifically into, I researched what happens when you have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I addressed those things. I did find a lot of feelings of being unsupported and taken for granted and things like that. I don't have the paperwork right in front of me, but there was some very deep, things from his childhood, things that he was kept from or lied to about. One of the number one things is his mother and father had gotten divorced at a time where divorce wasn't cool. You just don't do that. It's kind of taboo. And his mother ended up getting pregnant and putting a baby up for adoption. And because of that circumstance of being lied to about that, but something within him knowing that, because he was old enough to know, but throughout the years it was kind of blocked out.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of deep rooted issues about, just being taken for granted, not valued, not appreciated.
And so question, so as you were working on all these issues and things, about how long or how many sessions did you do regarding aligning on this specific topic?
On the cancer in general, or just, I've probably done, from beginning to end, I've probably done about 10. Yeah,
so you did quite a few different sessions on it.
Yes, and I addressed it from different angles, and he couldn't always tell me things, but I'll tell you, he was bad enough that his whole right side was gone.
Wow.
He couldn't speak, he couldn't articulate. It was as if he had a stroke and he was completely paralyzed on his right side. The left side of his brain. And
timeline wise, about how long did that take? Like weeks, months, how many?
I'm going to say about 9 months.
9 months. So aligning consistently.
And then, I checked in to see what oils would help and things of that nature. I used a few different modalities to see what was going to benefit him and promote more healing, to help speed the process.
That's so cool. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And especially and now it's all no negative results, right?
Yep. He's, for being as the way he was, he went into the rehabilitation center, which they put him in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the quickest. I mean, his recovery was so fast that everybody was just in shock.
Wow. Boom. Love it.
I've got videos of him walking. I mean, days after the brain surgery, he was like, I'm doing this. He grabbed onto my hand and he's like, let's do this.
Wow. That is so awesome. A way to go. And so that's huge. And way to go to stick with it. A lot of people just want like the one time, and sometimes it works that way. Sometimes it's just one time, wham, bam, done. But you stuck through it and you were persistent, which is really great. Not everybody does that, but it's super worth it. And we have to remember, like, something that has been going on for so many years, to do like less than 10 sessions and get such an incredible result. That is so cool. So cool.
Right.
So then what else have you done it on? I know you did. Yeah. Tell us some other cool results real quick.
So I did it on, I've done it on my you know, I come from a yours, mine, ours, and theirs. I do have a daughter. She's from another mother, but she was suicidal. She got put into the psych ward. I'm going to say 4 times since Thanksgiving. So it was about Thanksgiving time. Just before that, she went in the first time. And just with suicidal tendencies, she was going to, you know, be done with things on Thanksgiving Day because, you know, she didn't feel loved. She didn't feel appreciated. She didn't feel like it was worth living, like life was worth living. And the first time she called me, she told me how she was feeling. She opened up to me and just asked if I would help her, you know, and for that was huge, because I'm a firm believer that you got to want the help. You got to want to heal, you know, and it just takes, like, you know, the faith of a mustard seed. Seriously, that's all you need to have that desire to heal. And so I started working on her. She did go in a few more times, but I didn't do it aggressively. I did it when she asked me, because, you know, sometimes I'd ask and do it intuitively, just enough. And I did do some dowsing that helped her. And that was huge. The first thing was like entities and things of that nature, just very negative, low-lying energy. And then bottom line with her is, you know, there was times where her mother just didn't love her and appreciate her the way the average person knows how to. Her mother was, you know, probably bipolar or schizophrenic, a few labels that we could probably place there, but she had a lot of dysfunction in her life. And it came down to a phrase that her mother had told her, that I never wanted you. You know, I don't know why I ever had children. Wow. You know, and he felt so worthless and so unloved. And it was just you know, getting to that and having her voice the things that she felt and aligning to all of that. And I'll just tell you that, I mean, I've known her for 15 years and I've never really genuinely seen her smile or laugh. She just didn't. And recently we've been spending a little bit of time together, and I've seen her laugh. I've seen her, you know, genuinely smile, and it brings so much joy to my heart. And to have her say that, you know, I'm finding what I can that's positive out of this day. Wow. I'm trying to find the positive things, you know. I'm taking a route to work. There's a house that has these blue flowers that bring me joy. Wow. You know, there's things like that she's doing intentionally. Yeah. That bring her joy. And she's never been able to do that before. That is beautiful. So, I love that. Yeah. So from getting rid of cancer cells to depression, and one other, I know you mentioned even recently with this pandemic stuff. What have you done there? Right. So I'll just tell you, I'm in quarantine right now because my husband had COVID, and we're in quarantine, but you know what? We both feel great at this point. So it started out with him having a few kidney and liver issues. And so I worked on that. I worked on discovering what he needed. There was a lot of being unsupported and feeling like the world was against him. You know, going all the way back to, I think when he was 14, when his stepfather and they were all playing a game, and so my husband made the right choice, the right answer in the game. And the stepfather did the wrong answer. And the stepfather literally kicked him out of the house because he's like, you're not smarter than me, kind of thing. And so he felt like he wasn't good enough, like he wasn't smart enough, and he's always looked at me and said things, you know, throughout our relationship that I'm like, why would you say that? You know, and to get to the root of these things. And right before he got sick, there was an instance with his father where his father didn't acknowledge something that he liked. And it's like, how could you not know what your son likes when he's your son? and you've raised him, even though his mom and dad were split up. His father didn't know that he was into Hot Wheels, right? My husband's got over 500,000 Hot Wheels. Okay. So how could his dad not know that when he talks about it all the time? And he just felt very unsupported and very unappreciated and not seen or heard. And it came down to that. And we tapped on that. Obviously I did a few cellular things going on, worked on the virus, things of that nature. And he's doing great.
Wow.
He's doing great.
Boom. I love it. And so what would you say? So you've worked on a lot of different things. You've seen some really great results. I know you've worked on other clients and other things as well. I'm sure you have lots of other stories. What would you say is the difference in your mind from using the abundance alignment technique versus all these other methodologies that you've used? They're all good. They're all great. But what would you say really makes this one different or unique?
To me, this one encompasses all the others. I know they were buildings, stepping stones, building blocks, but the abundance alignment technique encompasses all of them. And it brings alignment quickly, like instantaneously. If I can tap on my sinuses, and I think I went outside and I wiped the tissue on the car, and I got all those, and I did that afterwards, and my allergies are amazing now. Like, I don't have them.
That's awesome.
As I used to, unless new allergens come, of course, I deal with that, but it's instantaneously, and the results are lasting. When with my husband's case, so he had a kidney and liver issue, right? He went in for that, tested negative for COVID. And then 4 days later, after we worked on the kidney and liver issue, he went in, had a panel. His kidneys and liver were fine, right? His everything was good there. The doctor, I even have the paperwork to prove it, and it's incredible. And then of course he tested positive for COVID because he was still feeling a little bit weak and stuff. And I was just like, let's just go in again. And, and I just felt inspired to do that. And maybe it's so that I can say, look at this, there's proof here. It works. He got COVID, I guess, from someone that was down and out for like 3 weeks, like bed rest, like couldn't breathe, all of this stuff. He started out feeling the same way, where it looked like death warmed over. And literally within days, he is himself again. He's going to be okay. It wasn't drawn out like for 3 or 4 weeks like other people. He's gaining his strength back. And to me, it's like miraculous. This is an amazing technique. And I was led through it through prayer and petition. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Well, thank you so much, Monica. And if you had, just kind of wrapping this up, if you had a couple suggestions for people thinking about it, maybe they've tried other things, like what would you say to somebody who's a little unsure? They've done a lot of things, but what would you tell them if they have something in their life that they want to change, or whether it's physical health stuff or mental or emotional or even financial? Like, what would you suggest to them regarding this technique?
So ultimately, I would say if you were led here, there's a reason. And with this abundance alignment technique, anything is possible. So give it a chance. It changed my life, and it changed the lives of so many that I love and care for. And I know it will change yours too.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Monica. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you, if wherever they're seeing this posted, if it's in the group or whatever, you could just tag her. And if you want to create a dialogue, get to know and get to work with each other, super cool. And then I know you'll be doing the certification, so that'll be epic. And eventually you'll be teaching this methodology to people, which
I'm excited.
So awesome to have you out there changing the world even more. So thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing all this. And everybody have an awesome day.
All right. Much love to everyone.